Bismillah ar-Rahman Rahim. Good morning and Assalamu alaikum. Ladies and gentlemen, viewers, I am Lieutenant General Muhammad Haroon Aslam, and I have the honor of serving as the President of the IMARAT Institute of Policy Studies and the member of IMARAT Advisory Board. IMARAT Institute of Policy Studies is a research and policy institute based in Islamabad, Pakistan, which focuses on conducting studies and providing insights into various sectors such as real estate, tourism, hospitality, and economy. It serves as a think tank producing research reports, blogs, and publications to support evidence based policymaking. Today, I welcome you to a crucial, very important webinar, which is titled Curse of Beggary in Pakistan. Beggary in Pakistan is a multifaceted and urgent issue that affects millions across the cities and rural areas. And to be frank, when I selected this topic and did some my personal research, it is mind-boggling the kind of harm it is doing to society, to our economy, to our image internationally. So we thought that we must get together, and this is the first series of subject of a webinar on this subject. Right. The webinar brings together a distinguished panel of experts from fields such as sociology, legislation, civil service, education, and social work. They will offer multidimensional insights into root causes, criminal networks, policy failures, and human costs of beggary in Pakistan. Most importantly, they will guide us towards actionable, ethical, and sustainable solutions. I'll briefly introduce the panel. We have with us Professor Dr. Habibur Rahman Sitare Imtiaz. Professor Dr. Habib will discuss to eradicate Pakistan, a decorated academic and policy advisor. Dr. Habib brings a wealth of experience in higher education, leadership, and school social reform. Let me add one aspect that when there was earthquake and Balakot, he was vice chancellor of Muzaffarabad University, and he continued in the fields without any shelter. And his services were greatly recognized by the organization. His talk will focus on actionable, sustainable solutions to address the systemic roots of poverty and public welfare dependency. We have Dr. Farhan Yousaf, Professor of Sociology and Director, Institute of Social and Cultural Studies. Farhan Yousaf will highlight the between human trafficking and beggary with sociology from the University of Connecticut. I hope I pronounce it correctly. USA, Scholar and Best Graduate Student Award recipient. Dr. Farhan's research focuses on human rights, migration, and trafficking in persons. He is a widely published scholar whose work influences public policy and academic discourse alike. Welcome, Dr. Dr. Shujat Ali is a former civil servant. Dr. Shujat Ali will present a comprehensive overview of the legislative shortcomings that enable Pakistan. Drawing from his rich background in civil service and public administration, his presentation will include practical policy recommendations to foster long-term systemic reform. Then we have Madam. She's a social worker, practitioner, specialist. Ma'am Nisa will shed light on children in enforced beggary. Experience in program development, gender sensitive policy implementation, and disaster risk management. She has a donor, poverty alleviation, and women empowerment. Her expertise in monitoring and evaluation of humanitarian program brings a critical data-driven lens to the issue of child exploitation in begging networks. Dear all, kindly note that each panelist will requested to speak for 15 minutes, not more than that, and then we'll have Q&A session. Dr. Farhan, you may please take the floor. Thank you.
Okay, sir. So thank you so much, sir, and I really appreciate the efforts of IMARAT Institute of Policy Studies for organizing today's webinar on such an important issue of Beggary in Pakistan. So in my presentation, I will actually link this issue of Beggary within the context of human trafficking or trafficking in persons. So in my presentation, I will begin with the very concept of trafficking in person, just to give an idea what actually we mean by this concept of trafficking in person, what's the situation, what are its different forms, and how Beggary is linked with human trafficking and with particular context to Pakistan. And I will briefly talk about the current legislation in Pakistan that addresses trafficking as a form of human trafficking in Pakistan. So next, please. Okay, so trafficking in person, so it's one of the fastest growing illegal industries in the world. It is also referred to as a modern form of human slavery as well. So this phenomenon is not specific to any particular country or geographical location. So almost all the countries of the world are actually experiencing human trafficking in varying degree. So it is also a gendered phenomenon because traffickers usually prey on the vulnerabilities of women and children, but men also are trafficked for different purposes, especially for forced labor. So, according to estimates, there are millions of people who are actually currently living under conditions of modern form of slavery. And when we talk about trafficking in a person, so this form of crime is also linked with other serious crimes. For example, now there are growing evidence that trafficking in person is linked with money laundering, with terrorist financing, and other crimes as well. So there are two prominent forms of trafficking in person. First is internal trafficking, that is, in this form of exploitation, people are trafficked within their own country. They don't need to cross, national borders. Whereas in the second form, which is called external or international trafficking, people are actually, transported to other countries for the purpose of exploitation. Next, please. So how can we define trafficking in person? So in very simple language, we can say that trafficking is basically, it's an enterprise in which human beings are used as a commodity. So it's just like a business, and for every business, there's a commodity. So in simple words, we can say trafficking is a business in which basically profit is generated through the exploitation of human beings. Uh, Internationally, when we talk about the concept or the legal framework of human trafficking, so the United Nations General Assembly in 2000 actually adopted the protocol to prevent, suppress, and punish trafficking in persons. And this protocol, under its Article 3, provides the definition of trafficking in persons. So the act of trafficking actually involves three constituent elements. So if we really want to determine that in a particular incident whether trafficking has occurred or not, so there must be three constituent elements to determine whether trafficking has occurred or not. So the first element is act, that is the recruiting, transporting, transferring, harboring, or receiving of a person. The second element is means, that people are trapped through coercion, through fraud, abduction, or by abusing their position of vulnerability. And third, and the most important element of trafficking is the purpose. And the purpose of human trafficking is always exploitation, because crimes indicate they basically generate profit through human trafficking by exploiting people, and people could be exploited for various reasons, for example forced labor, sexual exploitation, or organ removal, or other similar practices. And that's why it's called modern form of slavery. So these are the three elements that constitute the crime of trafficking in persons. Next, please. Okay, so these are some prominent forms of trafficking in person. So, children, women, men, they are exploited for various purposes. So, for example, forced labor, removal of organs, selling children, forced marriages, sexual exploitation, forced begging, and child soldiers. So, forced begging is one of the prominent forms of human trafficking in which basically people are forced into begging. Next, please. Yes, please. Next. So, who are actually the victims of trafficking? So now I'm sharing with you, the global data. So it's a report that has been compiled by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. So according to this international report, that across the globe, 39% of all identified victims are women. 22% of identified victims of trafficking are girls. 16% identified victims of trafficking are boys, and 23% victims identified victims of human trafficking are men. So this is basically actually the global data, and it clearly indicates that an overwhelming majority of victims of trafficking are women and girls. Next, please. Okay, so again, the global data showing the share of detected victims by forms of exploitation. So again, it only shows the victims who have been identified, detected by various law enforcement agencies across the world. So it shows that the victims were trafficked for different reasons, and clearly can see trafficking for begging, like 1% of all identified
बस अपना
victims of
अपने बच्चे ज़हन में लाओ ना कितना क्रिमिनल
almost 1% of total identified victims of trafficking were trafficked for the purpose of forced begging. But we can always question this data. For example, the number might be low for forced begging because still there is little understanding of this particular dimension of human trafficking, because when we talk about human trafficking, so people generally think that trafficking includes sexual exploitation or forced labor only. So that's why other forms of human trafficking are not frequently detected or reported. Next, please. Okay, now let's discuss the links of trafficking Beggary with particular reference to Pakistan. A couple of years back, Dan reported that, Federal Ministry informed, the Senate that almost 90% of beggars arrested in foreign countries were of Pakistani origin, and this is something that was really alarming. And likewise, Federal Investigation Agency also reported last year that by the end of 2024, only from Saudi Arabia, 4,000 beggars were deported during the last 3 years. And as Habibur Rehman was saying, that not only these numbers are very alarming, but they bring bad name for Pakistan, and especially it creates problem for those people who want to go abroad through legal channels. So Beggary actually become a very lucrative business, generating billions of rupees yearly. And if we compare trafficking for the purpose of bagging, so it's relatively a less risky one. Why? Because it's so much deeply rooted in our socio-economic fabric, that people many times don't consider it as a crime or as a form of exploitation. So that's why many times it's considered a less risky one form of human trafficking. So who actually traffic beggars? So beggars, they can be trafficked by both strangers. Sometimes children, they are kidnapped by a human traffic, and then they are forced into Beggary. Or sometimes friends or people they know, their relatives, for example, they actually coerce or push them into forced begging. So traffickers could both be strangers or people actually the, the know the victims. Next, please. So, as I shared with you earlier, trafficking is considered gendered phenomenon. So similarly, in this form of trafficking, when we talk about Beggary, so statistics indicate that a significant portion of all begging victims are women and children, and it is also, deeply linked with the disability as well. Why? Because it has to do
Mhm.
with the social construction of disability. People feel, compassionate, or people feel that, they feel this urge on moral ground that they have more needs, so we need to actually help them. And because of such behavior, human trafficker, they actually try to manipulate and try to exploit this situation. So that's why they particularly target young people, and especially those who have some sort of physical or mental disability, so that they could earn more profits. Next, please. Then, like other forms of trafficking, Beggary is also linked with other criminal activities. For example, Beggary is strongly associated with, street crimes, drugs business, or sometimes terrorist activities as well. And the profit that is generated through exploitation of human beings is again, used for money laundering or other criminal activities. So, according to the Trafficking in Persons report 2024, so this Trafficking in Persons report is yearly report compiled by the United States Department of States, and this report basically ranks countries in terms of their efforts to combat trafficking in persons. And Pakistan is currently on tier two. And 3 years back, we were in the great place, but Alhamdulillah, we are doing, good job, and we are out of the great list, but still we are in tier two. So the recent report basically provides us some prioritized recommendations. So for Pakistan, the report indicates that human traffickers, they buy, sell, rent, and kidnap children for forced labor in bagging, and some trafficker targets particularly, persons with disability, and force them into begging. And the report actually recommends that government of Pakistan should expand efforts to raise awareness on all forms of human trafficking, but particularly forced begging, because it's very recently that we have also acknowledged trafficking, like forced begging, as a form of human trafficking in Pakistan. Next, please. Okay, now very briefly about the legal and policy framework in Pakistan, and I will only focus on Beggary. So the Constitution of Pakistan actually basically prohibits all forms of human trafficking, including trafficking for the purpose of forced labor. So in Pakistan, the Parliament of Pakistan passed this legislation called the Prevention of Trafficking in Person Act 2018. And in 2018, the trafficking was, basically defined for the purpose of sexual exploitation and forced labor. But recently, the Parliament adopted its amendment, which is called the Prevention of Trafficking in Person Amendment Act 2025. And through this amendment, now organized beggary has also been acknowledged as a form of human trafficking. So, according to this amendment, next please, the Article 3C of the Act now in Pakistan, when the Article 3 defines trafficking in persons. So, in addition to trafficking for sexual exploitation and forced labor, Section 3C explains organized beggary as a form of human trafficking. And here you can see that this subsection 3C actually provides a very comprehensive definition of organized beggary as a form of human trafficking in Pakistan. So thank you so much. So this was like a very brief presentation about beggary as a form of trafficking in persons in Pakistan, and I didn't discuss about other intervention or legislation on countering Beggary in Pakistan, because I know other panelists will talk about other laws as well. So I only focused on
Great.
Beggary as human trafficking. Thank you.
ग्रेट ग्रेट डॉक्टर हबीब सर आप अभी जरा इंतजार कीजिए और आई सजेस्ट आप अपनी प्रेजेंटेशन हमें भिजवा दें वी कैन शो द स्लाइड्स फ्रॉम हेयर एज डॉक्टर फरहान के साथ हमने किया था तो वील गेट बैक टू यू ठीक है ना मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है डॉक्टर फरहान से तो वील यू नो यू मे लाइक टू कमेंट ऑन दिस you know this people who migrate from illegally to other countries for labor and for jobs and for immigration जिसको हम डंकी
Right.
कहते हैं is it human trafficking
No, sir, that is called human smuggling. Human
smuggling
smuggling is different. Human smuggling. But what happens many times, the process starts from human smuggling, but it ends up in the situation of human trafficking. Because when people move abroad through illegal means, they become extremely vulnerable. And many times they become, prey to crime syndicate in those countries, right?
okay
So it does happen many
got it
times that human smuggling ends in the situation of human trafficking. But simply moving abroad through illegal or irregular means human smuggling.
do we have a department in provincial government or in a federal government which particularly focuses on anti-begging because this is now a social and for economic problem also so much of turnover and they don't pay taxes even is there any department which is taking care of this
Sir, so my presentation was focused on trafficking within the ambit of human trafficking. So if we want to address it as a form of human trafficking, then at the federal level, there is Federal Investigation Agency who is responsible to address this issue, and at the provincial level, police department. But in like we can also talk about Beggary as a crime, not as form of human trafficking, but simply as a crime. So there are many other departments, for example, Child Protection and Welfare Bureau in Punjab government, that actually that organization deals with the issue of child beggary. Similarly, Social Welfare Department, they do have beggars home in Punjab as well. So there are
I think
different, phases
yeah
of beggary.
but since it is becoming a very serious problem there could be a task force made at provincial level
Exactly.
to address this because anyway Dr. Shujat sir it's your turn now please
जी
the
सर
floor is yours
सर मेरी प्रेजेंटेशन है इनके पास है कभी वहां से चला दें तो इजी हो जाएगी सर थैंक यू
जी
सर
डॉक्टर साहब
जी thank you sir for once again inviting me to a seminar sponsored by this IMARAT Institute of Policy Studies on a important theme that affects not only Pakistan in a significant way domestically, but also the image of Pakistan in the outside world. So, and this issue has become extremely serious in the last couple of years, as it is being reported extensively in both in the domestic media and the international media. So, next slide page, let's go over to so I would like to start. It is this beggary is it is a pervasive problem. It's since long, but it has only come to notice in the last 2-3 years because just the numbers are growing in a big way. Not only within the country, but also the number of Pakistanis being identified as beggars in countries which are generally visited in large numbers by for various reasons. Uh, to a large degree, countries where we are going as pilgrims in the Middle East region of the world. It is a pervasive problem with deep-rooted structural causes uh, lying in the economic domain as well as in the social domain, and this will become more evident as we go along. So, सबसे पहले तो the alarming numbers, I would like to just briefly talk about them. ये नंबर डॉक्टर साहब ने भी, डॉक्टर हबीब ने भी कोट किए. ये नंबर फरहान साहब ने तो नहीं जिक्र किया, लेकिन आई थिंक 38 मिलियन का जिक्र जरूर किया. द पॉइंट आई वुड लाइक टू सॉर्ट ऑफ एम्फेसाइज हियर इज, ये नंबर जो हैं ये एक प्रेस के नंबर हैं. ये किसी सरकारी, किसी रिगरस क्रेडिबल स्टडी से ये नंबर्स नहीं आए. इट इज इकोनॉमिक टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया को ये एक रिपोर्ट है जिसको कोट कर रहे हैं, और हमारे पाकिस्तानी उसी का पाकिस्तानी न्यूज़पेपर भी साइट कर रहे हैं कि वो इकोनॉमिक टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया ने रिपोर्ट दी. तो अब इन क्रेडिबिलिटी के नंबर्स जो है ये दिस इज वेरी सस्पेक्ट कि ये एंड दिस अगेन इज फॉर द स्टेट ऑफ पाकिस्तान. आवाज आ रही है सर आपको? हेलो?
जी जी बिल्कुल.
हाँ, ये अनस्टेबल का साइन है. स्टेट
नहीं,
ऑफ
आ रही है,
पाकिस्तान,
आ रही है.
बिकॉज ये कोई इस किस्म की कोई नेशनल लेवल की कोई स्टडी नहीं है. जो हमें पॉवर्टी के नंबर्स का रिपोर्ट होते हैं, हमारे पास इस तरह के नंबर्स, रिलेटेड नंबर्स रिपोर्ट होते हैं, नरिशमेंट के नंबर्स रिपोर्ट होते हैं, न्यूट्रिशन के नंबर्स रिपोर्ट होते हैं, लेकिन ये बैगर्स का जो नंबर है ये दिस इज ऑल, दीज आर ऑल गेस्टिमेट्स पुट टुगेदर बेस्ड ऑन सर्टेन assumptions. तो ये नंबर्स का जो गेम है, दिस इज समथिंग विच नीड टू बी tackled at the state level. ये 42 बिलियन का जो डॉलर का भी नंबर है, 42 बिलियन रुपीस का नंबर भी है. वो एक हमारे फेडरल मिनिस्टर साहब की एक स्टेटमेंट में प्रेस में रिपोर्टेड, वो रुपीस में कहते हैं. कुछ जगहों पे ये 42 बिलियन, कुछ अच्छे न्यूज़पेपर्स में जहाँ है बाहर भी वो यहाँ से नंबर्स पिक हो रहे हैं. सो दिस इज अ वेरी सीरियस. बट हैविंग सेड दैट, given this confusion and ambiguity in numbers, it is a very, very serious and alarming problem for the country of Pakistan as a whole. अब इसकी जो दो बड़ी, जहां से this attention has really become focused on this issue is the nature of beggary. Beggary as a normal form has been around since years. Historically be over the centuries this has been a problem if you go into history. But now this has become an organized business. It has acquired commercial overtones, and it has become a money spinner, huge, and which has attracted a lot of criminal gangs. So this is a source of the challenge that we face today, or trafficking baat, and it has linkages. Beggary has linkages with the trafficking, as was highlighted by Dr. Farhan. Aage chale. Next slide, please. Sir, iski socio-economic causes, again, Dr. Habib also briefly mentioned in his the few slides that he was able to talk about. It is due to poverty and inflation. The economy is very weak presently, but over the long term, the economy generally has remained an economy which is as a highly unequal distribution of wealth, of land, and of resources. That is a persistent problem. But these issues, these inequalities, disparities have become worse over the last, let's say, five years or so, since the 1920 COVID, floods, and overall the nature of the economic policies which have stressed austerity. We are being required by the International Fund to curtail our budgets, to balance our budgets, and that has slowed and it has multiple roots. Inflation also being a contributory factor, which it had gone up to in the 20s, but in 2024 it was 11.8%, which is also a very high number. Our unemployment rate is at 6.3%. Lack of education and lack of health facilities is also a source of people living a life of misery and poverty because they don't have access to these life, education and health facilities. Article 25A, which guarantees free education, little has been done in terms of implementation of this very important article of the Constitution. And as a result, children are a vast number of children are out of school. They live in conditions of uh, conditions where they are subject to hunger as well, hunger, malnutrition, access to and miserable condition in terms of basic hygiene that is necessary for a dignified life. आगे चलें जी. अब सारे चीज को how do you go about there is a technocratic solution and there is the technocratic solution is through the use of instruments that are available with the regular government for addressing or controlling this menace. Or long-term solutions are more holistic, which go beyond just laws. They are more to do with social welfare, the nature of the economy. Are we going to continue with a neoliberal economy, a market-based economy which produces inequalities, or are we going to have a model of the economy which is more welfare-oriented? These are much larger issues. But just focusing on the technocratic issues, there is no single law, national law at the level of the country aiming to address this issue of beggary. There is ये जो recent ये federal law ये एक आया है, ये trafficking का law. It's a largely a it represents criminalization of beggary, but only focuses on the criminal aspects of beggary. ये जो the kind of issues that have been mentioned by Dr. Farhan, it does not address the larger issues that I've just talked about. ये 2000 का लॉ 18 का लॉ था, फेडरल लॉ था, बट वो गैंग्स को एड्रेस नहीं करता था. Now with this they have more powers to go after these criminal gangs, both within country and also those gangs operating outside the country. Landscape is fragmented. हर सूबे का अपना लॉ है. पंजाब का एक लॉ था, Vagrancy Ordinance 1958. But that was a weak law targeting individuals. जो लोग, people who would be found wandering around, where no permanent place of residence, और वो गली मोहल्लों में नजर आए, तो police could actually arrest them. But वो इतना serious, it was not considered as a very serious infringement. It was a non-bailable offense, तो वो foreign bailout भी होते थे based on if somebody knew them and was willing to put in a bail for them. और फाइन्स भी थे कोई up to ₹1 लाख. I don't exactly recall, लेकिन they were not very heavy fines. यहाँ heavy लिखा हुआ है. ये heavy जो है ये अब ऐड हुआ है. Vagrancy Act में ये फाइन्स जो थे और वो था imprisonment और फाइन था. अब ये मेरे ख्याल इन्होंने कंबाइन भी कर दिया. फाइल्स भी ऑफेंस को नॉन बेलेबल बना दिया है और ये फाइन्स भी कुछ की अमाउंट इन्होंने बढ़ा दी हैं. जो मेरे पास इंफॉर्मेशन जो मैंने कलेक्ट की, ये जो अमेंडमेंट है 2025 वाली, ये इट हैज पास्ड both the houses of parliament, but it is still awaiting the assent of the president. ये unless if there's a better information available with any other panelists, this is the one I was able to find on my search on the internet. पंजाब का जो एक्ट है ये, if I am right, this has been enacted और ये police can now act under it. इसी तरह जो एक exit control, अब FIA, because it has now been given a larger role, तो अब उन्होंने बहुत सारे लोगों को, beggars को, there was a number close to about 4,000 जो 2024 में who was put on the exit control list. But these are like, not sustained activities. These are sporadic activities. Pressure builds up in the newspapers, and then the government, goes after these people. But then the moment the focus shifts to another crisis, or another issue of importance, the focus loses its the attention is no longer the same, and the focus becomes diluted. तो there are huge these laws. इसी तरह का एक law जो है वो इस्लामाबाद में भी है, which is called the Islamabad beggars law. 2020 का law है. And I went through that law. That law is more it's more systematic. उसके अंदर उन्होंने कमर्शियल एरियाज पे बैन किया हुआ है इनको, एंड मेन स्क्वेयर्स के ऊपर भी इनको इनकी प्रेजेंस नहीं है. एंड दिस इज व्हाट यू एक्सपीरियंस व्हेन यू इन इस्लामाबाद compared to other cities of Punjab. On every square, on every traffic signal in Lahore, there is a horde of beggars doing those, those their runs between the lanes of cars. This is something you don't see very much in Islamabad. Perhaps in India, Pindi would be more like Lahore, but Islamabad law is more, the signs are that it is more effective, and it also has more modern features that like rehabilitation centers, जो कि आप मैंने उसकी परफॉर्मेंस की कोई चीज़ तो नहीं देखी, but the provisions for rehabilitation are there in the law. So all in all, the legal landscape is definitely changing in the light of these new imperatives which are being thrown up by based on the messages that we're getting from these other countries. Given they are having to deal with our beggars coming from Pakistan and our missions abroad who have been telling the government that this is earning a bad name for Pakistan, something needs to be done. So there is movement on the legal landscape in terms of amending the laws, making laws more modern, more appropriate for the kind of challenges that we face, but implementation and enforcement is still somewhat behind the standard that we expect in order to cope with this crisis. आगे चलें. Next. Scale का issue है. Crackdowns off and on happen, but they are not sustained and they lack scale. There are 67 people arrested, 100 people arrested, and then focus shifts somewhere else. So the crackdown need to be more frequent, more sustained, and on a bigger scale. Rehabilitation की बात मैंने की, laws अब rehabilitation की बात है. पुराने laws में rehabilitation means bringing them in and then incentivizing them to go through a course of skills training, so that when they go back, they can stand on their own feet, earn some sustained livelihood. You're able to get some sustained source of livelihood through what they have learned. इस किस्म की activities are there, but not enough, inadequate to the challenge that is before us. ये जो laws की बात भी हुई, ये laws की development recent है, इनका भी कोई impact, as I said, infrequently applied and on a very small scale. So the impact is yet to be seen. आगे चले. Next. Public policy initiative. As said, laws are a technocratic solution that governments only undertake on the basis of what is doable and the kind of resources they have. But the challenge is much bigger and needs to be done on a wider scale and for a lot longer than the initiatives that I've talked earlier and which are more of a short-term nature. Benazir's income support program had raised a lot of hopes in terms of when it was initiated. I think it was way back in I think 2009 or 10. I was in Islamabad at that time. But then and a lot of budgetary allocations are made for this program, and there's a huge number of Pakistani households that benefit from this program. But the handouts that they are given, the quarterly amount is about 10,500, which comes to 3,500, and I think that is not enough to lift people out of poverty, to give them a dignified, sustainable livelihood. So there are a lot of money is going into it, lots of huge scale across the country, all four provinces. Numbers are huge in terms of households benefiting, but the impact in terms of addressing this issue now that has become a growing issue. Beggars everywhere. And beggars are, there are needy beggars, there are people who do beggary out of need, and then there are professional beggars. Needy beggars are those, you go to any shopping mall, you go to a petrol pump, you go to a shop, you go to everywhere, there are outside a restaurant, there will be people, if not directly seeking alms, looking you in a way that they expect something. You being richer than them, you need to help them. So, I mean, that is also an issue, a societal issue. People, a large proportion of people in the bottom stratas are not being able to earn enough to live a life, but a life that gives them that basic means to sustain themselves health-wise, or in terms of living basic levels of existing, well-fed, and even the society is not being able to provide that, and that is something we have to ponder very in terms of the kind of economy that we are building in Pakistan. बाकी ये what Benazir's income support program, it just gives cash. It does not attend to long-term rehabilitation of these people, graduating people of poverty and giving them sustainable livelihoods. They have pilot initiatives, but no major breakthrough in this area. And then there are also allegations of corruption and political interference in programs of this kind, which are largely sponsored by the political parties. Even in the public policy domain, as I said, this was an issue in the legal domain, but also this is also an issue in the domain. Short-term reactions are come to the fore when there is pressure, there's media pressure, and an issue comes to the fore which demands urgent attention. But then things move on, because again, another crisis. We are a country where crises keep happening, and the attention and focus gets diluted, and that long-term solutions that we're seeking to make Pakistan a prosperous country, they somehow are no longer. I mean, they don't come to the fore, and they're not sustained. आगे चलें जी. Next. इम्प्लीमेंटेशन लुक्रेटिव है, ये बात हो गई. फरहान साहब ने बात की. 90% बैगर्स जो हैं वो इशू अब्रॉड है, वो सारे पाकिस्तानी निकलते हैं. बैगर्स में टर्फ वॉर्स होती हैं, बड़ी स्ट्रॉन्ग वायलेंट टर्फ वॉर्स भी होती हैं, और ये दिस गो शोज कि देयर आर माफियाज बिहाइंड these numbers that are showing up as beggars on our streets. और फिर एक इशू है हमारा जो सोसाइटल सिस्टम है, हमारे जो सोशल नॉर्म्स है, रिलीजियस नॉर्म्स हैं, they ask us to give alms directly rather than trusting charitable institutions. So that makes this beggary acceptable, and an easy way to make money through showing up at doorsteps and standing in the squares. आगे next जी, आगे चलें. Successful models हैं, ये 3-4 हैं, ये literature में हैं. ये इसमें जो the key elements that are coming through is that we need to focus on skill development, और एक basic income का concept होना चाहिए. एक basic welfare provision, जैसे कि स्कैंडिनेवियन कंट्रीज में होती है, वेलफेयर स्टेट इन डेवलप्ड मुल्कों में होती है, कि एक मिनिमम इनकम लेवल है, determined on the basis of some minimal food needs and other needs for decent living. वो इतनी इनकम हमें, इस तरह का मॉडल हमें based on the performance of the economy, इस तरह का एक मॉडल हमें डेवलप करने की ज़रूरत है, और इन मुल्कों ने इस किस्म की चीज़ें बेस्ड ऑन द रिसोर्स टेलर टू देयर ओन सर्कमस्टांसेस डेवलप की है। जर्मनी का मॉडल जो है वो वोकेशनल एंड टेक्निकल ट्रेनिंग के ऊपर बेस्ड है। वो जो मैंने रिहेबिलिटेशन की बात की, स्किल प्रोग्राम्स की बात की, वो भी मुल्क में बहुत फैनफेयर है, बड़े पैसे जाते हैं, ये बहुत सारे टेफ्टाज हैं हमारे, एक बहुत फ्रेगमेंटेड लैंडस्केप है, मैनी इंस्टीट्यूशन, बिलियंस ऑफ रुपीज गोइंग इनटू देम, एंड व्हेन एंड ऑफ द डे व्हाट वी फाइंड इज के रिजल्ट्स हमें नजर नहीं आ रहे, बिकॉज इफ द रिजल्ट्स वर देयर देन वी शुड नॉट बी हैविंग दिस explosion or this huge rate of growth of beggars in Pakistan. जापान में भी इसी तरह का मॉडल है। आगे चलें। recommendations हैं, mafias need to be broken down, social safety nets, not just cash transfers, but tied to, the enrollment in schools and some kind of a skill training. If they're going to get cash transfer, they have to do this. I think that can make some difference in terms of, people being incentivized to find jobs rather than, seeking arms on the streets. Rehabilitation centers जो भी हैं, provisions are there in the law, but they need to be supplemented with vocational mental health support. Mental health का जिक्र डॉक्टर हबीब की presentation में भी आया था. This is also a source of poverty, and through poverty, becoming a beggar. Public awareness campaigns आनी चाहिए to discourage direct alms giving. And to trust the charitable institutions, again, who need to be rated by the government in terms of, credibility, in terms of addressing poverty. International cooperation, particularly in the instance of transnational begging. आगे चलें जी, next. Conclusion, complex problem, both socioeconomic and legal. Laws are a step forward, but need robust implementation. Holistic approach combining poverty alleviation, legal action, and rehabilitation is essential. I think that's my last slide. Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving me a patient hearing.
Yeah, Dr. Saab, thank you very much. A very comprehensive presentation. You have covered all the aspects. But I'm really, on one aspect, I was amazed that it was Economic Times of India which tells us that the 12% of GDP is attributed to Beggary and $42 billion or rupees. Now, this is something absurd. We should have our own data, at least. And then, you talk about Benazir Income Support Program and other programs also where we dish out money. We are giving a fish, but not enabling people to learn fishing, somewhat like that. We'll talk about it, but I would leave, before I come to the next speaker, I leave one question with you. We carried out a bit of research. Why Beggary is more encouraged and rather patronized in South Asia? And there is a thought that maybe our religion, Islam, when we talk of philanthropy, charity, so Beggary is also linked to that. I'll leave this question with you in your mind and we'll discuss it later. But now, Zain, kindly you take the floor, please.
Thank you very much, sir, General Saab, and all the respectable panelists for a very good information that you have shared with us. So for my topic today, I have given my presentation, and I would request if you can show this presentation on it. So my topic was that child exploitation through Beggary in Pakistan, sir, which is one of the most painful and painful hits, sir. One that today we are gathered just to discuss the social issues. Continues to hunt the streets, marketplaces, sir. We can see the beggars, children, and the women. They are in marketplaces, traffic signals of Pakistan. I am talking about the child exploitation in Beggary, a human rights violation hidden in a plain sight, sir. Child exploit, sir. Next, please. Types of beggary in Pakistan, sir, especially with the children's and the women's. As the Dr. Saab has rightly mentioned that exploitations, and the most of the children, like 39% women, and the 22% girls are uh, uh, abused and used in child forced beggary. Children are trafficked. They are forced to beg under threats or abuse, commonly organized, sir, by criminal networks. We call it mafia. Often children are deliberately injured and mutilated to gain sympathy of the people, so that children can earn more and more money through begging. Exploitive families, sir, all the participants and respective panelists have already discussed that one of the most important, reason or root cause of the begging is the poor families and poverty in Pakistan. Poor families force their children into begging due to financial, disruptions, and while not always linked to mafia, it results in some exploitive outcomes, like we can say it's sexual abuse, especially with the females, because they become gender-based violence, commonly because they are male and their husband, they force them for begging and to earn money for their households, meeting their needs. So religious begging is another one of the types of the begging, which is as we are children are sent to shrines, mosque, or during religious events to collect donation under this religious begging. Seasonal begging is another important event that migrant families or internally displaced population engage in. Street children during the economic downturns or natural disaster, like said. If you look at the era when there were earthquake, or we have floods, different floods, so we can see the which often resulted in child sexual abuse, exploitations, and that was the reason, sir, we also established under in NDMA one of the child protection cell, which is still and we also because to protect the children into exploitations and force beggary. Digital, sir, one of the another important types of begging is the digital begging, live stream begging, a newer form of exploitations where children are live stream begging on platforms like TikTok, with profit shared between the exploiters and the digital platforms. So, next, please. Scale of the issue, sir, over 1.5 million children in Pakistan are estimated to be involved in street-based activities. Many of them are begging. One of the report that has been, issued in 2022 in Peshawar found over 75% of children begging had been tortured by handlers or their guardians. In major cities, sir, like Lahore, Peshawar, Islamabad, and Karachi, entire syndicates controls intersections, forcing children and women to meet daily income targets, sir. Next, please. As of today, if you look at the policy actions and also institutional action as well. So if you look at the legal and institutional framework, in this context, Zainab Alert Act 2019 was introduced to respond to the child adoption and exploitation cases, especially after the Zainab case. In Punjab, sir, there is another Act 2024 which provides for the protection and rehabilitation of the street children. And under this Act, Social Welfare Department, there are centers which have been established for the children and the women, and they provide them protection in these centers. Child Protection Bureau, sir, it is active in Punjab, but Child Protection Authority is also established in Sindh, and Child Protection Act is also established in KP, but they are under resources. They are, not, properly providing the actual services for which they have been established. Law enforcement, sir, and actions. Punjab Labour Department conducted 85,000 plus inspections in 2000 2020, leading to 87% arrest related to child exploitation. However, these are very limited, and still the problem is going deep-rooted. And occasionally police crackdown, sir, sometime on begging mafia with the limited convictions due to weak evidence and legal loopholes. International collaboration, Pakistan is one of the signatory to the United Nations, especially to the SDGs and poverty reduction, giving proper human rights to the children, and ILO Convention 138 and 120 or 182. But all these are there, but said this problem is going deep-rooted, and child abuse in Beggary is growing day by day. So next. Challenges, what are the challenges? We have policies, we have laws, we have, as we have, Habib Sahab have mentioned that it is in the constitutions to protect, provide protection to every men and women. But we have laws in Punjab passed in previous year. We have laws, sexual exploitations, Anti-Harassment Act 2018 in Punjab. We have all these policies, and we have, but weak enforcement, local policy often, deal with the mafia, and they ignore these kind of activities. A lack of rehabilitation services. We have shelters, we have centers, and we have also vocational training program for resource for rescue children, but these are very limited. Like we have Retd, we have across the country, but and we have also, sir, just as you have, Dr. Saab have mentioned that Benazir income support program, sir, but Benazir income support social protection it is, but that is again very limited, and there are so many problems in Benazir income support. And we had these vocational training programs in Benazir income support programs, and giving, some money to the poor to establish their own businesses, but that was not properly implemented. Stigma and social norms are many view children beg as normal or religiously sanctions. Digital exploitation gaps, no specific laws yet address online child begging or digital abuse. Next, sir. So proposed way forward, sir, we have laws, we have like in provincial level, we have laws at the national level, we have international commitments like at the UN level. But what we need to do, we need to have a special anti-beggary task force at each provincial level, or at least a national level, so we can, our national organizations, they can coordinate with all the within the government departments and all other programs like run by different funding authority like civil society organization, NGOs, INGOs, and different funded programs like World Bank for programs, or like ADB, Islamic Development Bank. So these task force can link these activities, and they can do a lot of work law enforcement and legal authority do, organize to dismantle organized begging rings. Comprehensive legislation, sir, enact or national law specifically addressing all the form of forced beggary, including digital exploitations. As Sir Dr. Shujat Saab has rightly mentioned that we have this now, March 2025 bills. It is it talks about the, it is Punjab Assembly passed bills declaring beggary and non-bailable offense 2025, but it is still bill because it is not been endorsed by the president, as Sir has rightly mentioned. So we need to have a comprehensive legislations. Public awareness campaigns, sir. Every panelist have rightly mentioned that we need to have a national campaigns. We need to have a provincial campaigns discouraging this children's and promoting reporting mechanisms, child rehabilitation and integration programs. Sir, we have child rehabilitation centers like we have in KP, we have in Punjab. We have KP Child Protection and Welfare Commissions. We have Punjab Bureau of Child Protection and Welfare Bureau of Punjab. We have Child Protection Authority in Sindh. But we need to have a comprehensive, effort that needs to be well coordinated, well informed, and in order to, save our resources and also deal the collectively this, abuse and child and promoting reporting mechanism. Expand child protection centers with services for educations. Like we have child protection services, they are providing only shelters and then necessary health services and laws if needed. But we need to have their education. We need to provide them our protection centers needs to provide mental health and family reunification services also. Technology monitoring, so we collaborative with the social collaborate. We need to collaborate the task force or one of the task force wing can collaborate with these social media platforms to flag, report, and remove exploitative begging live streams. Data collection and regular monitoring, it is one of the duty of the national. We have national database and mapping of Beggary hotspots. We have national database, but that is not mapping the Beggary hotspots or including child demographic and syndicate networks. So data collection is very important. If, sir, you are doing it as a research purpose, we can see that where is the Beggary, what kind of, that include child demographic and syndicates networks, where these networks are working and how we can curtail these and how these exploitative effort like Beggaries, and then how we can make these children as a useful and constructive citizen of Pakistan. Next, so conclusion, this child beggary, especially forced begging under mafia, remains a severe violation of child rights in Pakistan. While legal framework exists, exploitation is weak, and the emergence of digital exploitation has further complicated the issue, sir. And a multi-sectoral response involving legislations, law enforcement, public engagement, and international cooperation, as well as the civil society organization, the citizen community support is urgently required to protect vulnerable children and dismantle these exploitative systems.
Thank you, Zain. That was a very interesting presentation with all the details. And Dr. Habib, kindly,
Yes,
sir,
sir.
7 minutes है हमारे पास, आपके पास 7
Sure,
minutes.
sure. In 5 minutes. In 5 minutes.
चलें, great. चलाएं presentation.
Just almost, I think all panelists agree that awareness जो है campaign ये should be launched. That it's important that people know why Beggary, launching public awareness campaign to educate public about the issues surrounding Beggary and engaging local communities, mosques, and schools to discourage giving handouts. Particularly mosques, religious leaders can play a vital role in providing welfare solutions instead of giving handouts. जिस तरह जनरल साहब ने फरमाया था कि people may align this with the religion, but the religion clearly prohibits this beggary and giving handouts to those who are professional beggars. Rehabilitation programs, we all agree, and every learned panel has discussed about it. Rehabilitation programs होने चाहिए, skill training and job placement to help individual reintegrate in society, that is required. Community-based initiatives, supporting local initiatives, providing support services and rehabilitation programs. Next, please. Policy and governance है, develop national policy. जितने भी learned parents हैं, सब ने इस पे बात की है, and that is required. That addresses beggary, unemployment, and social inequality. Allocate sufficient resources for the social welfare program and services. जिस तरह शुजात साहब ने भी फरमाया है और ज़ेबुन्निसा साहबा ने भी कि throwing money in is not the solution. Sustainable प्रोग्राम शुरू होने चाहिए और जो भी प्रोग्राम्स हो इंस्टीट्यूशनलाइज हो ताकि उसका इम्पैक्ट नजर आए। जैसे जिस तरह शुजात सर ने बताया कि बेनजीर इनकम सपोर्ट प्रोग्राम है, वो उसका कोई इम्पैक्ट नजर नहीं आ रहा। द गवर्नमेंट स्पेंडिंग मनी विदाउट एनी इम्पैक्ट ऑन द सोसाइटी। तो उसके लिए ज़रूरी है कि आप इंस्टीट्यूशनलाइज करें फंडिंग को और सस्टेनेबल बनाएं। और फिर उसके एस्टैब्लिशिंग सिस्टम टू मॉनिटर प्रोग्रेस एंड एवेल्युएट इफेक्टिवनेस, ये भी ज़रूरी है। नेक्स्ट प्लीज। By implementing a comprehensive approach that addresses the root causes, strengthens legal framework, and promotes public awareness, it is possible to significantly reduce and eventually eradicate beggary in Pakistan. Next, please. We have दो आर्टिकल्स हैं जिसका रेफरेंस ये है। कंट्रोल ऑफ बैगिंग इन पाकिस्तान पॉलिसी एनालिसिस है, दे आर वेरी गुड, और उनकी रिकमेंडेशन जो हैं वो भी है। और पर्टिकुलरली द प्रॉब्लम ऑफ बेगरी इन पाकिस्तान एनालिसिस इन द लाइट ऑफ इस्लामिक टीचिंग, दैट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, दैट signifies the perspective in the light of Islamic teaching। और उसके कुछ दो तीन चीजें मैंने कलेक्ट की हैं, ये मैं आपसे शेयर करना चाहता हूँ। नेक्स्ट प्लीज। हमें पता है कि हमारे रसूल सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ बैगिंग जो हैं उसके लिए फरमाया है कि देयर आर 3 कंडीशन व्हेन asking help is allowed due to heavy debt, personal effect by disaster, a person living in poverty. Otherwise, asking or begging is not allowed according to these. So, I think in mosques and in schools, this should be campaign should be launched so that the people in society, in masses, know that where the why the beggary is not allowed in Islam. There's another quote, हजरत उमर फारूक कोई भीख मांग रहा था, बैगिंग के लिए आवाज दे रहा था, तो उन्होंने कहा इसको बैगिंग दो। उन्होंने उसे फूड दी, तो उसने जाके उसने अपने कैमल पे डाल दी, एंड देन ही स्लैप्ड हिम एंड सेड डू नॉट आस्क अगेन। तो वी नीड टू लॉन्च कैंपेन इन स्कूल्स एंड in mosques through religious leaders to discourage beggary, unnecessary beggary or professional beggary. Next, please. State have the legal obligations. As Islamic State, we claim that Islamic Republic of Pakistan has the obligation to protect and promote human rights. जिस तरह panelist ने फरमाया है, every person living in any state has the right to basic needs. When the question of Islamic State comes, the government is more answerable to afford the smallest amount of standard of living to all those individuals who are not able to achieve the necessities of life. The ways to reduce the problem of beggary in Pakistan in Islamic perspective are interest, less loan, awareness of curse of begging through media, implementation of punishment on begging, technical skill and education, providing basic facilities to citizen, system of zakat, and etc. Next, please. ये जो दो पेपर्स मैंने जिनका मेंशन किया है उसमें recommendations हैं, वो very important हैं in this way that the trends, ये जो migration होती है villages से rural area से urban areas में, ये भी रोकने का इंतजाम होना चाहिए. That also promotes beggary, and that will only that's only possible if we create jobs in the rural areas, so that the people in rural area may get their livelihood. The government must improve the literacy ratio, which ultimately makes individuals aware of society and life, which in turn give benefit to reducing ratio of beggars. In this regard, implementation of the Article 25A of the Constitution of Islamic Republic is required. Next, please. The imprisonment and fines, इस पे भी बात की है learned panelist ने, effective legislation की भी बात हो गई है. The government should take advantage of NGOs, social workers and other members of civil society to prevent the spread of poverty. Academicians, researchers, and other concerns must create awareness of the issue. The government officials like Deputy Commissioner and Assistant Commissioner should, from time to time and on different occasions, have check and balances of the issue so that the issue of beggary may reduce. Next, please. The media is very powerful tool in our society and creating the image. In this regard, the media can play a vital role in solving the issue of beggary as its reach and effect quickly to everyone. Eradicating beggary is indeed a crucial step in addressing poverty. Therefore, of the seminar aligned with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 1, no poverty, and goal number 16, peace, justice, and strong institution. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Doctor. You had covered, sorry, we had to hurry it up. But I now want to discuss one aspect. You see that in South Asia, I'm talking about South Asia, we watch these Indian movies and we see that outside the mandir, there are always, the queue or people lined up begging outside mazars, outside mosques on Jummah, on Eid. Is it a religious connection with beggary? Anybody who can answer my question?
Yes. I think the people think that it is religious, but it's not. और हमारे रिलीजियस लीडर भी और आम पब्लिक भी अवेयरनेस को इसको डिस्करेज नहीं करते. अगर मास्क में इसको डिस्करेज किया जाए तो आई डोंट थिंक द मास्क वेयर आई प्रे जुमा they forbid this and nobody sits outside. Before the families, one families with all children and daughters and sons, small sons, they always sit on the mosque and wait the end of the prayer and they get money almost 2,000-3,000.
You see, why am I putting this question to you is that we as Pakistanis are known to be biggest philanthropists in the world,
Yes.
charity givers. We are. हम किसको चैरिटी देते हैं? बेगर्स को ही देते हैं ना.
Beggars.
बहुत महदूद जरूरतमंद को देते हैं ऑथेंटिसिटी. अदरवाइज फितराना दे दो, किसको देना है? वही बैठ के बेगर को दे दिया. So we will further discuss this point, but हमारे social structure और religion के साथ जुड़ा है आपका begging. Dr. Farhan, are you there?
Sir, may I intervene very
जी,
small?
please.
असल में आइडेंटिफाई करना वो भी जैसे आपने फरमाया कि फतराना दे देते हैं या इस तरह को सदका दे देते हैं. आइडेंटिफाई करना नीडी पर्सन को हमारे लिए मुश्किल है. तो हम आसान काम ये करते हैं जी दो जी सिरों लाओ. तो that's the thing.
And then we have corruption in our system of governance, system, social structure, and all, because we have example of this. We deposit this charity. इसको क्या कहते हैं charity जो हम नहीं जो सर जो हम ये हमारे बैंक से कट जाती है.
Zakat.
Zakat. And
Yes.
Zakat fund. There are misappropriations in Zakat fund. And there have been cases where the important people, member of parliaments, have been going for Umrah and Hajj on Zakat fund. So the point is, people don't have faith in the system. Otherwise, if there is a Fitrana fund and we know that it is going to go in the right direction, then we'll contribute there. Acha, Dr. Farhan chale gaya. I just wanted to ask him one question. Farhan, are you there? Disconnect ho gaya. Check karo. Okay. I wanted your views, Dr. Shujat. ये जो बेनजीर income support program, good program. Again, we know that there used to be good faith fund in Europe and USA. Then there is in the times of recession there used to be free soups and free bread, things like this. But generally in American society, people have to work to earn their livelihood.
I see.
And there is no free lunch there. No
Right.
free lunch.
I
So
see.
this things like distribution of money, recently I think close to 45 billion or 50 billion rupees have been distributed by the federal government, which has gone through some easy money, paisa and all. we are making people getting used to free lunch, free money. What do you think about this?
नहीं सर, ये बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट इशू है। ये इसको पैसे देना तो ये तो कंजम्पशन को बेसिक आप स्टेट अब्जॉर्व कर रही है अपने आप को कि हम लोगों को कुछ दे रहे हैं। ये अपने जो टैक्सेस इकट्ठे करते हैं, हम अपने कॉन्शियंस को वो एक सूद कर रहे हैं कि हम ये पैसे दे डोंट मीन एनीथिंग इन अ पुअर पीपल्स लाइफ। ये उसको थोड़ा सा पैसे, मतलब ये भी गलत कहना है कि दे डोंट मीन एनीथिंग, लेकिन जिस किस्म की एक इंसान की एक महजब जिंदगी का जो मयार है, जो रिलीजन भी कहता है, जिसको ग्लोबल स्टैंडर्ड भी मानते हैं, ये उसके हवाले से तो बड़ी मीगर अमाउंट है। 3,500 रुपये आप महीने में एक हाउस होल्ड को दे रहे हैं। doesn't go anywhere, doesn't ये
Got
इसके
it. Zeb, what do you think of this? आपका क्या ख्याल है? आप तो इंटरेक्ट करते हो, माइक ऑन करें। आप तो ये सोशल वर्कर हो, माइक ऑन कीजिए।
जी जी
हाँ,
सर, थैंक यू वेरी मच सर। मैं इस तरह के स्टेट रन प्रोग्राम्स, बहुत सारे प्रोग्राम्स हैं, एंड बेनजीर इनकम प्रोजेक्ट प्रोग्राम इज वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट प्रोजेक्ट जिसमें सर बिलियंस का जो बजट है उसमें एलोकेशन की जाती है सर। एंड इसमें जो कैश ट्रांसफर की जाती है दैट इज ये जो है प्रोजेक्ट इन आई हैव वर्क विद देम सर। ये वर्ल्ड बैंक की, आईएमएफ की और एडीबी की, जितनी भी हमारी जो फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन है उनका पसंदीदा प्रोग्राम है। बिकॉज बेनजीर इनकम सपोर्ट प्रोग्राम जो है वो छोटे से अमाउंट जो है वो दे रहे हैं, बट दैट इज थ्रू उनका जो, एक तो उसकी 3 चीजें होती हैं। एक, वो डेटाबेस आ जाता है जिसमें वो आपको कहते हैं कि हमारे पास 8 मिलियन का डेटा है, जिसमें उनके पास आ जाता है आईडी कार्ड, एंड दैट इज यूज्ड फॉर पॉलिटिकल पर्पस सर। वो वोट के लिए यूज किया जाता है। वो एट द टाइम जब इलेक्शन आता है तो बेनजीर प्रोजेक्ट जो है उसको उस तरह यूज किया जाता है। सेकेंडली सर, दिस प्रोजेक्ट और इस तरह के प्रोग्राम्स जो हैं वो पॉलिटिकली जनरेट है। जैसे अभी मैं पंजाब की आपको एग्जांपल दे दूं, मैं पंजाब के बीओआर के साथ काम कर रही हूँ। उनका एक पल्स प्रोजेक्ट है, उसमें डिजिटाइजेशन ऑफ लैंड रिकॉर्ड्स है उसका सर। पंजाब में
डॉक्टर
मैंने
साहब को
अभी खुद
मिलाना
प्रोजेक्ट देखा है सर कि वो अपना एक अथॉरिटी डेवलप करें, सोशल प्रोटेक्शन अथॉरिटी, बिकॉज दे डोंट ट्रस्ट बेनजीर इनकम सपोर्ट प्रोग्राम। बिकॉज वो कहते हैं कि ये जो डेटा है, मतलब वो पंजाब वाले अपना डेवलप कर रहे हैं, केपी वाले अपने पे जा रहे हैं। अब ये जो बेनजीर इनकम सपोर्ट प्रोग्राम है इसका क्या स्टेटस होगा? और ये जो बिलियंस ऑफ डॉलर्स सर इन्होंने आईएमएफ से कर्जा लिया हुआ है, वर्ल्ड बैंक से लिया हुआ है, एडीबी से लिया हुआ है, ये सारे एक इंस्टीट्यूशनल, जितनी भी फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन, इंटरनेशनल फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन है, उनके लिए एक सोने की चिड़िया है। बिकॉज बैंक्स मीन बिजनेस, और हम उनको रेगुलरली एक पैसे तो ठीक है, हम ये सोशल प्रोटेक्शन का एक प्रोजेक्ट है चला रहे हैं, प्रोग्राम है चला रहे हैं, बड़े बल्ले बल्ले भी होती है जी। वो अमाउंट जो एक इंडिविजुअल के पास जा रही है वो दैट इज वेरी लिमिटेड, बहुत ही मेगर है। लेकिन इस बेनजीर इनकम से प्रोग्राम के सारे प्रोजेक्ट सर ठेके पे दिए हुए हैं। शुजात साहब को पता होगा, सारा का सारा काम जो है ठेकेदारों को दिया जाता है, और ठेके में क्या क्या होता है वो आप मुझसे ज्यादा बेहतर जानते हैं।
नहीं,
तो
सॉरी मैं इंटरप्ट कर रहा हूँ। देखो, आर प्रोग्राम इज अपॉलिटिकल। मैं तो
जी
बीएएसपी का
सर,
इसलिए कि एक
बिल्कुल,
एक मॉडल दिया कि ये प्रोग्राम है।
जी जी बिल्कुल सर।
तो मेरा पॉइंट वही है जो विच आई एम्फसाइज के देखिए, वी हैव टू establish a system whereby people can work and earn, and then state takes care of the people who are deprived. Instead के हम ये तो
कैश
डॉक्टर फरहान,
ट्रांसफर
आर
कर,
यू देयर? कैन यू लिसन? डॉक्टर फरहान
नहीं है सर, वो डॉक्टर फरहान शायद चले गए हैं,
जी जी
नजर
सर।
नहीं आ रहे।
चले गए?
आगे
रहने
आगे
दो,
हैं सर, हैं।
आगे।
Sir, sorry, I briefly lost the internet connection. So,
नो नो डॉक्टर फरहान,
uh,
बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग गुफ्तगू हो रही थी।
sir,
ये चाइल्ड लेबर के हिसाब से ये बताइए दैट अभी ये व्हाई दिस चाइल्ड, ये जो ट्रैफिकिंग, ह्यूमन ट्रैफिकिंग इज देयर, इसकी अंडरलाइंग रीजन तो हमारी सोसाइटी है ना। मुझे जरा, कैन यू रिपीट few, one or two important points why this human trafficking is there in Pakistan? Why?
जी सर।
Reason
सर, तो
underneath.
मेरा ख्याल अगर one liner simple answer is that human trafficking basically thrives on human vulnerabilities, right?
If there are human vulnerabilities, human disparities, definitely, there are people who are who are just waiting to exploit such a situation. So we need to address, human vulnerabilities, human disparities, and I think so कि डॉक्टर शुजात साहब ने बड़ा क्लियरली उसमें जो है वो बात भी की कि डिस्पैरिटीज क्यों हैं, रीजंस उसकी हैं। अब फॉर एग्जांपल अगर आप देखें तो जो लास्ट ईयर की ग्लोबल रिस्क रिपोर्ट है, तो वो रैंक कर रही है कि व्हाट आर द पोटेंशियल ग्लोबल रिस्क। सो नंबर वन ग्लोबल रिस्क इज राइजिंग कॉस्ट ऑफ लिविंग। ठीक है सर, तो अगर जो है व्हेन पीपल आर अनएबल टू मीट देयर बेसिक नीड्स और हमारे पास कुछ उस तरह के सस्टेनेबल सॉल्यूशंस नहीं है टू एड्रेस दोज वल्नरेबिलिटीज, सो परहैप्स वहां पे जो है इट्स बिकम वेरी इजी कि हम इस तरह के वल्नरेबल ग्रुप्स जो हैं उनको वो टारगेट करके एक्सप्लॉइट कर सकें।
एक मिनट सर, मैं
जी
एक बात
जी
सर,
डॉक्टर साहब।
ये जस्ट फॉलोइंग आप, मैंने आपके किसी पहले भी किसी वेबिनार में मैनी मंथ्स अगो कि मैं बहुत सारी आपको ये ग्लोबल इंडस्ट्रीज की बात किया करता था, ये फरहान साहब भी रिस्क इंडस्ट्रीज की बात कर रहे हैं। एक ग्लोबल हंगर इंडेक्स है, हंगर इंडेक्स। उस हंगर इंडेक्स के ऊपर 128 के 27 29 कंट्रीज हैं। हम 109 नंबर पर हैं ग्लोबल हंगर इंडेक्स के ऊपर। डिस्पाइट द फैक्ट कि हम कहते हैं कि हम फूड अबंडेंट कंट्री हैं, वी फॉल 109th ऑन द ग्लोबल हंगर इंडेक्स। और हमारे से नीचे वही मुल्क हैं जो बास्केट केसेस हैं, अफ्रीका के, और ये अफगानिस्तान होगा, यमन होगा, इस तरह के मुल्क होंगे, अफ्रीका के बहुत सारे मुल्क होंगे। और 27 और 28% ऐसे लोग हैं जो सीरियसली आर फूड शॉर्ट एंड सफरिंग फ्रॉम सीरियस हंगर। अब इस कंडीशन के अंदर लोग ना करें, ट्रैफिकिंग ना करें, वो अपनी जान बचाने के लिए मुल्क मुल्क को ना छोड़ें। वो यहाँ जिंदा, उनको जिंदा रहने का कोई हक नहीं है। मैं इमोशनल थोड़ा सा हो रहा हूँ, लेकिन बात तो सर ये बड़ी सीरियस बात है कि अपने घर को छोड़ना, एक अपने माहौल को छोड़ना। और जाके मैं कल अपने गांव में गया हुआ था, समबडी वो कोई एक जिम्मेदार था, अच्छा वेल टू डू था, उसका बच्चा लीबिया चला गया अपने घर को छोड़कर। वो लीबिया के किसी ये स्लेवरी की बॉन्डेज वाले कैंप में, वो हम डॉक्यूमेंट्रीज देखते रहते हैं नेशनल ज्योग्राफिक्स की और टीवी पे। अब ये लोग क्यों कर रहे हैं ये? बिकॉज हमारी कंडीशंस इन इस स्ट्राटा में दे आर वेरी वेरी सीरियस एंड अलार्मिंग एंड डेंजरस फ्रॉम द पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू ऑफ सोशल स्टेबिलिटी। इसलिए लोग जा रहे हैं। ये मैं
वेरी
become a
गुड
little
पॉइंट।
emotional about
अच्छा,
it, but ये
इसमें
बड़ा
इसमें
सीरियस इशू है सर।
मेरा मेरा इसमें व्यू जो है दैट होलिस्टिकली होलिस्टिकली एज अ नेशन, लोग कहते हैं ना जी क्रिकेट परफॉर्मेंस नहीं अच्छी, हॉकी नहीं अच्छी, एथलीट्स क्यों नहीं पैदा होते। You see, human indices means that it gives you a kind of a reference that where do you stand. So
सर
as a nation, we are going down. मैं आपको एक एग्जाम्पल देता हूँ। You when you travel on a motorway, just stop over at McDonald's. Okay,
जी
वहां
सर,
बच्चियां काम करती हैं जिनकी एज 18 ईयर्स से लेके 23 25 तक होगी।
जी सर,
ठीक है जी, जस्ट सी देयर हेल्थ, just see their physical structure. They are mothers of the future.
ऐसे ही,
They are weak. They are
अभी
undernourished. They
ऐसे
are
ही,
stunted.
ऐसे ही है सर।
देखिए, हम हर चीज में डाले सिल्वर लाइनिंग्स तलाश करके रोजी पिक्चर तो हम सब पेश कर सकते हैं,
ऐसे ही
बट एज अ नेशन वी आर गोइंग डाउन। मैं सिर्फ 2 मिनट ईच दूंगा। अ पार्टिंग कमेंट, तो वी स्टार्ट विद हबीब साहब। पार्टिंग कमेंट जी कोई।
Sure, sure. I think institutionalizing of spending money by the government and making the program sustainable, number one. And number two, the campaign launch करें poverty reduction के लिए, and ultimately that will help reduce the beggars in Pakistan. और जब तक हम ये नहीं करेंगे, we cannot do anything. क्योंकि जब तक जो आप सस्टेनेबल प्रोग्राम नहीं बनाएंगे, इंस्टीट्यूशनलाइज नहीं करेंगे फंडिंग को जो गवर्नमेंट देती है, उस वक्त तक हम आगे नहीं बढ़ सकते। और ये
जी
इतना
जेब
जिस तरह
आपका। जी थैंक यू
फरमाया है
डॉक्टर
कि
जेब।
इतना इतना
सर जी
इम्पोर्टेंट
प्लीज
ये
प्लीज
इशू है,
प्लीज।
तो देयरफॉर वी नीड टू एड्रेस दिस सीरियसली, अर्जेंटली, और ये जरूरी है।
थैंक यू जेब। आप
Thank you
Just
very
2
much,
minutes.
sir. Again, I would again request कि sir जो हमने जितनी भी suggestions दी हैं कि वो campaigns होनी चाहिए, awareness होनी चाहिए, especially for child exploitations and women के जो GBV cases हैं, that is very much important. But for that you need a conducive environment, sir. We need social, economic, and also, to be very honest, political stability. Also for any nation to again, I don't want to discuss politics because, but again, sir, ये जो disrupt है, ये जो social fabric है, law enforcement है, law बनाना, constitution act बनाना, ये that needs integrated and coordinated efforts, sir. We need to
Very
have
important.
all these
Integrated and coordinated effort. Yes,
coordinated
yes.
effort to
We are.
supplement and support each other intervention. अभी बेनजीर इनकम प्रोग्राम चल रहा है, लेकिन वो अगर all alone जाता है, जी, I don't want to go.
Okay, Dr. Farhan, if you are listening, your parting comments, sir.
सर सर आई वुड लाइक टू से कि हमने जो है आज बैगरी को डिस्कस किया है द सोशल इशू. So when we say it's a social issue, it means this issue has been created by the society and this issue can be addressed by the society. How? So for this we need a holistic and integrated approach कि जिसमें हमें laws भी required हैं, हमें जो disparities है उनको भी address करने की जरूरत है, हमें sustainable solutions required हैं, but at the same time we need behavioral change. That's very very important. क्योंकि अगर बिहेवियर चेंज होगा तो सर चीजें जो हैं वो आगे की तरफ जो हैं वो चलेंगी. तो इसके लिए आई थिंक सो वी नीड एन इंटीग्रेटेड अप्रोच, होलिस्टिक अप्रोच.
Society. Dr. Saab, you are presumably the senior most panelist, so आप दरिया को जरा कूजे में बंद करें ना.
बस सर मैं कह रहा हूँ कि एक शॉर्ट टर्म सॉल्यूशंस, ये जो हमने बातें की, ये टेक्निकल फिक्सेस, ये लॉज वगैरह टेक्निकल फिक्सेस हैं शॉर्ट टर्म. दे जस्ट एड्रेस that the moment when we are facing a crisis or media pressure, we need to think beyond them. We need to think holistically in terms of the nature of our society, nature of our economy, and what kind of results are being thrown out by these two ways of organizing a country, economy and society. Focus is more on the economy. Society is being neglected. हमारे मुल्क में सोशियोलॉजी का जो सब्जेक्ट है, ये इसकी कोई अहमियत नहीं है सर. ये फरहान साहब का जो सब्जेक्ट है, the country needs sociology more than, at this juncture, more than its MBAs and economists, so that we can fathom what is happening at the bottom strata of our country. अगर ये सारी चीजें, this also goes to the heart of terrorism and what not. ये हम सारी चीजें आपको भी पता है, मुझे भी पता है, but this message needs to go down कि हमें अपनी और ये डेटा का इशू एंड दिस डेटा इशू, हम दिस इज अ मैनिफेस्टेशन ऑफ द काइंड ऑफ नेग्लेक्ट दैट विद व्हिच वी व्यू दीज इश्यूज. डेटा ही कलेक्ट नहीं किया हमने. हमारा डेटा इकोनॉमिक टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया में हमारे प्रेस रिपोर्ट्स में ये कोट हो रहा है सर. वी आर नॉट वरीड अबाउट इट एट ऑल. तो आई थिंक दिस इज इम्पोर्टेंट.
Thank you very much, Dr. And thank you all the panelists, Dr. Habib, Dr. Farhan, Dr. Shujat, Ma'am Zaib. Thank you very much. It has been a wonderful discussion and your presentations. What we do is we have a system now whereby we record everything, and then after editing, the complete thing will be available on our website. And what we do is that then we fragment individual presentations also, which we'll send you. You can share with your friends and your colleagues. And then we will also send a report to try to send the report after due approval after approval by our board to the government. And we'll have another session also on this. But the panelists have richly contributed and we are very grateful. Thank you, sir, everybody. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you,
Assalamu
sir.
alaikum.